Hi, this is Greg of Pensacola, Florida. I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. Tonight, we're going to take a look at Hero Forge miniatures that I printed on my Peopoly Moai SLA resin printer. That was a mouthful. I got contacted by Steven just about three and a half weeks ago now, and he was asking for a price quote if I could print some Hero Forge miniatures for him. And I've been on this site a long time ago, and I played around with it when it was early. And at that point, you couldn't download STLs from the file. You had to have them print it for you. And it's pretty crazy expensive. And it's still pretty expensive. But somewhere along the line, they've changed it now so that the figures that you generate, you can actually buy the STL files. So I said, yeah, I'll take a look at them. I hadn't printed anything on the Moai in a while because I've been so into the FDM side here recently, putting out so many videos. With different designers. I said, I really want to get this printer back up online and going again. So these would be some great practice things, because this is one of the main reasons I bought it. So he sent me his figure, which is the one right here in the center. This is red. And I said, well, let me see what I can do with this. Let's see if we get the printer going and online. And so I went ahead and did a few different iterations of it and screwed up a couple things that I'll talk about. But the end result, I think, is pretty good. So I'm gonna flip over to the Hero Forge site in a minute and kind of show you the site, and then come back and we'll do some more close-ups on here. But just in general, just looking at this figure, I think it came out pretty good. I'd be happy to have that on my table. And I did shoot some gray primer on it. So what you're looking at, the guys that are on top of the paint pots are just an extra set of the figures that I could put primer on, that I could show on the video, that I'm going to give them as a bonus. For one, let me hold on to these for so long to get around where I could record the video. And two, just it's easier to see some of the detail. And we'll do some close-up stuff here in a minute, and I have some pictures. But the natural ones as they come off the printer, that's what's down in front. So the ones that you see in the front that are gray, that's the Peopoly gray resin that I use. I've got a whole bunch of it back there. I really like it. And so this was a chance for me to get the printer back online. He got some really cool figs, and when I saw a couple of the models like this one here, I was like, uh-oh, how am I going to print this? But this was fun. I mean, this was actually a lot of fun. So give me just a minute. We're going to pop over to the Hero Forge site, because I want to show you this site if you haven't seen it. We'll take about 5, 6, 7 minutes on it. We'll design a character, then we'll flip back here, and we'll start looking at the figures up close and give you my thoughts on it. Be right back. Alright, so this is the Hero Forge screen. I'll put a link to the site down in the show notes so you can go out there and check it out. And this is what it brings you into. So this is your default view. And just like kind of like a CAD program, you can rotate your view by holding the left mouse button down. And this is your basic figure. So this is where it all starts. And then right here, you get a bunch of selections. So up here under genres, we can hit all fantasy, western, sci-fi, modern, and that'll kind of scale down what your choices are when you hit the race section. So humans, and then you'll have robots and things like that. But what I'm going to do is just put it back on all. And if you've been around the channel for a while, I am definitely a fantasy guy. So I want to make what my normal D&D character would be, which would be a dwarf on there. So I'm either going to be a dwarf fighter, a dwarf paladin, and so right here you can click on the different guys. So a male elf, if you want to see what an elf looks like, a half elf, and then boom, dwarf. So there's my male dwarf. Here's your female dwarf. We're going to be the male dwarf. You got an elemental, you've got your gnomes, you got your half orcs, your half demons, canine. You got all this stuff down here. I haven't even looked down this low on there. Fawns. So pretty much your non-copyrighted names and stuff will be right there. So we've got our male dwarf. So you just kind of move right down to things. So I want to look at our head. So here's our head options. So you got your face, expression, ears, hair. I mean, you can really get down and see what you like on there. I like the beard, so I'm going to keep the beard on there. So really with the head, they got some new, because it's kind of Halloween, you got decomposing, but I think I'm going to keep this guy here with the nice full cheeks. Expressions, you can have him smile, grin, snarl, confused, My guy, blank. I'm going to keep the blank expression on there. Ears, if you want to change the ears, you got fins, animal ears. So this is basically, you're dressing your mannequin at this point. So now this is the first one I really want to get down into. So this is the hair. So basically, you can have your, nice spaghetti hair looking stuff. You can do your mohawk. You can do your bald on top, kind of your Picard look right there. Myself, you got the long, the long ponytail. And then you got this. It's pretty long. I don't know. I'm going to pick something. I don't think he would have that super long hair. Being the fighter, I don't want anything too short. I think that's what he started with, actually. Ooh, no, I don't like that. Alright, we're going to go with the big knot on top. And then the beard, we'll see if we can, you can do the crop beard like that. But I like the full beard with the knot because that'll give me a knot on the top and back. So it kind of keeps it the same. The eyebrows, sure, I got bushy eyebrows. That's fine. Ooh, no, don't like that. Teeth, I guess if you were an orc, if you wanted tusks, they could all be in there. You hit clear to clear it off. Horns, yeah, if you wanted horns, you can hit clear. So just showing you some of the options on there. Get down to the body. Torso, damaged, gaunt, humanoid, lizard-like, robotic. I just left it a humanoid. I'm not going to change too much in here. I mean, you can really get down and change your figure how you guys want. The clothing is the big one. So you can start right here with the outfits. And so, like, if you look at a Pharaoh's garb, which is new, when you click it, that's pretty neat. It outfits him in there, but you're not locked into this design. Now you can start changing stuff down here. But I'll show you a couple of the other ones. So here's your scale armor. Your Dragon Knight. I thought that was pretty cool. If you're doing a wizard. What else we got? Orcish Armor. And as you'll see, the definition is not bad. I mean, it's not a super high decimated model with tons of, but this stuff prints well. The details are high and they print well, and I'm sure they're going to print pretty good. I mean, paint up well also. I don't know what that was, a hide armor. Nobleman's clothing, if you'd like that. So what I'm looking for here is my, what's this? That's the, I want plate mail. Dragon Knight, Thieves, Scale, Druid, Thief's Leather, Blackguard, Heavy Elvish, Greco-Roman. It's pretty cool. I mean, there is a lot of outfit choices here. Power armor. Oh, somewhere in here I thought there was plate mail. Sorry, let me find it. I'll edit this out if it gets too long. Alright, right here, Dwarven armor. I'm a dwarf. I want the Dwarven armor. Alright, so now if I wanted to change my my headgear, I can come in here and I can start changing out the headgear. This is pretty good. Now I will show you, I'll see if I can make it happen. Nope. Let's see, I'm trying to find, oh, that is pretty cool. I actually kind of like that. I didn't see that before. But just watch how some of the items that you're picking, because like this beard will poke through a model in some places. So here's your different stuff on there. So there's all kinds of choices on here. Let me find studded leather. Actually, I like the hood. I'm going to go with the hood. I think the hood looks pretty neat. Now items. This is where the fun part, so there is a lot of weapons on here. There are shields, there are regular, longer swords, there are different swords, that you can put in both hands. So this will let you know whether you want it in the, you can put them in both hands if you want a dual wielder. Let's see, I'm going to come down here because, what is this? That's your dwarven sword. Rune sword, but I wanted a actual hammer. So they got some nice looking hammers that are down lower. That's your axe. Okay, now we're starting to get down into here. So like this right here. I think that's a pretty cool looking hammer. And now if you keep scrolling, like I said, there's a lot of stuff. Bow, staffs, lances. And now we get to the shields. So you can have a damage shield, like someone's been shooting arrows at it. That's pretty cool. You can come down here. You got your elven shield. Dwarven shield. So there we go. So I've got my nice rune hammer. I've got my rune shield going on. Now for your side, you can pick stuff that goes on your side. So you've got all kinds of stuff to pick from here, all the way down through. So I'm going to pick a whip and put that on his hip. And then I'm going to come up here a little bit. Obviously, we're not going to have a gun on the other side. And we can put... Oops. We'll put the quiver on that side. We'll put the whip on the other side, underneath the shield like that. And then we can come and look at his back. And we have some different options. So I can put a cloak on him. We can do a backpack back here, everything from a musical instrument. And you see how this is clipping right there? So that's just something to watch for. I could put the sword and shield. This is what you're going to see on red on his back. What is this? I have no idea. Let's see. I thought there was a... There it is. There's your crossbow. Put on the back. So I've got my quiver full of bolts, got my crossbow on my back, and like this. So this is a pretty static pose. So your base, I can come down here on the base, and you can sit there and, you get the rock texture. You can do a stone texture like that. I kind of like that stone texture. Or you can just leave it flat if you want to flock your own base or something like that. But I'm going to leave the stone texture on there. And then items. So here you can put items on the base itself. So good dwarf, he likes a little bit to drink, so I'll put some bottles down there on the base like he's been having a good time. And then a label. So I can type my text right here, and you'll see how it's pointing and actually goes up underneath the base, and it prints really well too. So if I go in here, Corin, this was my Dark Age of Camelot character's name. So I know a lot of people started with probably World of Warcraft. I was a Dark Age Camelot guy. I played that game until they ruined it with Trials of Atlantis. I'd probably still be playing that game today if they hadn't ruined it with that. But so that was my first character's name. You can put your guy on a mount. So if you want to buy a mount, you can put him on there. And the price, I believe, is still the same whether you do a mount or unmounted. So, and now your pose. So here's the big one. This is your static pose with the arms are out so that you can see. I can change it like that, like we're in a guard position. Here's, you're running through the air with the, like you're going to make that big strike with that hammer on there. I kind of like that. Here you are guarding, so if you own the printer, this is like him jumping down and landing on a 3-point landing. So you've got all these cool poses. I mean, these are really neat. And this is what really can, set your character up too. So what are we going to do? I'm going to do this one. No, that's a little much. No, not that one either. Nope. Shield up. Kind of like that. Oh man, if you're a rogue, that is a bad, I want to say bad blank pose. I try not to swear on the channel. That is a awesome pose right there. Just put it that way. I kind of like this. You know, it's got the action on there. It's got the handle out. I can put supports under all this stuff coming up pretty quick. So I think this is what we're going to go with on here. And so then your material. And here is your choices. You know, so you got digital download. It's $9.99. That's what it costs for me to get the STL file of this pose and this configuration right here. The reason I got contacted is, you know, if you want them to print it, it's $25. And I don't know if that includes shipping or not. And that's in your white plastic. If you want it in nylon, it's $15. If you want it in premium plastic, it's $30. Steel is $35. They're brown, they're heavy, and have a rough texture similar to cast iron on there. So I'm not quite sure how they're doing this, you know, this part of it right here, but it's bronze. You know, if somebody's ever done one of these, post in the comments below, and I'll put it in the next video if you've ordered one of these in these metallics. Is it just a color that it comes that way, or is it actual a metallic E type material on there? But as you can see, these are pretty expensive. This is why I never came back to the site like this. But for digital download at $10, this is the figure I'm going to buy, and I'm going to go ahead and buy this one. I'm going to download this, and then I'm going to walk you through the entire setup of how I take this from the digital part that you saw right here, and we're going to put a physical miniature on the table. We're going to paint them up. We're going to make them look cool. And I've got another fig I'm going to paint also. So this is Hero Forge. I'll put a link down in the show notes. Come on in here and have some fun with it. Download, if you do, post a link to some pictures and stuff like that. And stay tuned, because in the next video I want to try and come up with something fun for the channel to let you guys get a figure that maybe you designed up here on the channel, and we'll paint it up, and you know, I don't know, we'll have some fun with it. I got some ideas running in my head, but this is the figure tonight. This is Corinne, Dwarven Fighter, coming to the next Moai video. So let's kick it back to the video. I'll give you some close-ups of the figures that are on there, and I appreciate you sticking in here and watching. Thanks. All right, we're back. So yeah, that was pretty neat. And what I'm going to do is that figure that we just walked through and generated on there, I'm going to purchase that. And I'm going to take that figure, and we're going to start right from the beginning on another video with that figure alone. And I'm going to walk through the whole process, whether it comes out right, whether it fails, just the whole process that I use to get that figure to print. So I'm pretty excited to see that. And I got some ideas too to involve, you know, some of the community, especially after seeing these figures. But I'll talk about that in that video on there. But right now I'll get back to these. So the first figure that he had sent me was his. So his figure is red, and on the bottom of these bases is all the figure's names. So that's an option, you know, that you can put in there. So red looks like your fighter. You know, he's got the big two-handed sword on there. He's got another sword and board on the back. But I thought this came out pretty good, and I probably printed about 7 of him, because the very first one I printed, I had like a body and no head, and I don't know what happened when I did that I didn't have a head. So let me get the raw resin piece. You know, this is not using the printer for 2 months on there, trying to get back into it. So that's what I had no head. So once I figured that out, you know, I readjusted the support, and I'll pop some pictures up of the final support structure that I used. And again, if you want to watch somebody that's doing it right, definitely check out Evan Morgan's channel on there. I mean, the guy's killing it when it comes to this printer. So I'm hoping to catch up. I'll catch up slowly, but I mean, he does this for a living, you know, with the resin and stuff like that. So definitely he's doing it right on his channel. But this is red on there. So I thought once I got him down, because we thought this might be the hardest. And here's a pro tip. Let's see. Let me see if I can find the fig. I believe it's over here. Yeah. So here was one of the earlier prints, And this one came out looking pretty good. You know, I was like, yeah, I was pretty happy with that. And I'm clipping the supports away, you know, having a good time with it. And then all of a sudden, I clip right here. So if you look at the back of the two figs, you'll see that the hilt of the sword is right there. I thought that was a piece of support. So all that printing, that this would have been probably close to a keeper, and I go and I clip the hilt off the sword. So this will be one. I'm going to paint one of these figs up. I kept an extra one on here to paint, so I may keep it for the next video to do with the figure that we just created on Hero Forge, and I'll paint it, and I definitely will paint the one that I just generated on there. So that's it. Now back over to who is this? Tyrison. This is a little monk guy on here. So I guess he's a monk. He's got the staff like a monk. I love the face. If that doesn't say Tyrion Lannister in the face, I don't know what does. But this was cool. He actually came out pretty good on the first try on there. You know, I think I went back and I changed a couple supports on the final piece that's right up here that's going on the staff. But overall, I was really happy how he came out. So that was Tizerin, I think is what his name is on there. So forgive me if I've butchered your characters' names. Next figure is Nema. This is the one that when I picked it up, I was like, uh-oh. You know, I saw that giant bow. You know, she's got her foot off the ground. She's only got 1 foot on the base. You know, shield. I wasn't too worried about this right here, and I kind of already figured out how to do that. But I was worried about the bow. But this one took a couple tries on there on which way to lay her down, and I'll flash a picture up of what I settled on for the supports. And but she came out pretty good. You know, there's still a couple little spots where you could clean up on the miniature where the supports were and stuff like that. But like I said, these are extra figs, and you know they can hit that with a knife. But really, when you're looking, you can't see it when you're looking at it, not right up here on the camera like I got it now. But I thought this was a cool fig. The bow, I mean, the arrow, I had no problems with the arrow at all. I mean, that printed so well on there. So then my favorite figure out of the group is, I really like Lyanna. Yeah, this is Lyanna right here. So, warrior, sword and board, she's got her armor on. You know, it's a good pose. I really like the pose, how they've got it. And I need to find this left-hand pose, or how to mirror a pose on there. Because I was playing around even before I started shooting the video. And I know I had to put my shield over in the right arm, which I normally wouldn't do. But I don't know, I just need to play around with the poses more, because for me, my shield would be in the left arm like hers. But she was a really good print. Yeah, this is what the natural print looks like on here. So I was really happy with how this came out. And this is one of the figs that, like this one here, it really messed up the base. I didn't have enough support down here on the base. But the rest of the figure was fine. It was just a base thing, so I just reprinted it, you know, again a couple times for him. But this one here, this is the one I want to paint. So I'm going to hold on to this and paint it up and put it in the next video with the Hero Forge character that we just created tonight. And the fifth character, this is Oru, and I had to laugh when I saw this because, oh yeah, he's got the nice shield in his back, and I said, coffee, because if there's nothing I like more is coffee. Because if you've seen some of my old videos, you know, I broke my Maker Gear coffee cup, and I just had to laugh when I saw this figure, because myself and a friend of mine, we're both huge coffee drinkers, and well, if I'm going into battle, I'm going to take a nice cup with me. And so I thought this was a great fig on there. The shield, you know, the shield's plain. He's got the long hair. He's got the leather in the back. I'll show you the natural figure right here as it came off the printer. But this is great stuff. And I really like this Hero Forge stuff. I mean, I bought the Moai printer specifically to print miniatures and stuff like this. So this was a great first take. It's not a perfect take on there, but I'm pretty much pricing this, and because he let me hold on to him so long, that just pay me for I'm just going to charge him for shipping them to him on there, because I had a lot of fun doing this. So this was fun. I had fun creating the character just a little while ago. So Hero Forge is really neat. And now that you can get those STL files, definitely take advantage of that. Now, yes, the files are $10 a piece to download, but I don't think that's bad, because if you've played RPGs, and I'll snap a picture of my RPG shelf that I got over there. I've got a lot of RPGs. You know, monsters and stuff like that, you can use stand-ins and things, but you want something that represents your character. And so you spend time and time pawing over old Wizards of the Coast D&D boxes looking for miniatures and stuff like that. And, you know, of course, all the good ones are either rares or they're they're all out of print, but they're hard to get. You're going to spend anywhere from $5 to $40 depending on which figure it is. You know, if you go looking for Tordek, the dwarf on there, and he may not be your configuration. Well, Hero Forge allows you to pretty much configure your guy like you want. I mean, it's got a lot of stuff, and it seems like they're adding things to it now. The selection in there is really good. I know our group here could easily outfit themselves. So you got an RPG party on there. If you know some RPG players, show them the site, you know. Show them that they can download the STL files. They can hire you out to print some minis or print them out for yourself for your game. But these are your players. I mean, this is what you would spend the $10 on. These are your player figures right here. You know, you print it, I mean, and they don't cost much to print. I'm telling you, my cost on here, if you look, I'm using Peopoly resin. That's $70 a liter on there. My raw cost on these is under $1.50 on every single one of them on there, maybe $1, you know, because what I do is I take the finished fig and I load it up in the form software, and it tells me how many milliliters that it would take to print it. And then when I quote stuff out, I take them, I have a fixed milliliter price that I charge for the Moai. But these here, because he's been cool and let me hold on to them, I'm just going to have him pay me to ship them over to Tallahassee, and he can play around with them. And then if he needs some more in the future, you know, he can come back to me and we can work out a normal deal. But these are not expensive to print. You know, I think printing these on the Moai is going to be cheaper than finding a good hero figure on the secondary market. Now, I know there's Reaper Bones. I know that they just started releasing the blister packs they're like $3 or $4 from Wizards of the Coast now of more PVC miniatures, but the Hero Forge gives you that ability to customize your figure. Now, you can't take your figure back and redo it again. Once you buy it, that's yours. But for $10, if you lose it, who cares? Print another one. You know, and this is for the person that owns the printer. You know, something happens to it and it gets messed up, print another one. You want to change your colors of your band, print them out, and you guys can just repaint them up. But it's just a whole bunch of ideas. And I got some cool things I'd like to theme into the, you know, the SLA side of this channel, you know, for backers and stuff like that. But I'll talk about that in the next video, because I was talking with my wife about it. Just some fun stuff on there to do. But so there you have it. Hero Forge miniatures printed on the Peopoly Moai. I need to update my Moai. I am way behind on firmware versions. I know I talk to Mark in chat every now and then. I'm like, yeah, I need to do it. And all of a sudden, I've got some Kickstarter project I'm working on the FDM side, and I never get around to it. But this re-sparked that interest in what I'm doing in there. And so I'm definitely going to make sure I set aside time and get this type of stuff into standard rotation, because this is why I bought it, you know, to do the small scale, high detail stuff. So I appreciate you watching. The last Moai video did really good. I expect this one to be good, because you got resin SLA, and you've got basically D&D figures that are on the table on there. So subscribe, because plenty more of this content will be coming. Tabletop wargaming content is always on the channel, and the subscriber count is going up nice, as it has been. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to sit with me and go through these videos on there. So you have a good night. Please subscribe and stay tuned for some more.